Hi, welcome to part 2. So my next slide is what impact has the global economy had on your personal use of the internet? And the short answer is a lot. Growing up, the internet kind of became a thing around the time I was in middle school. From that point on, I kind of always had internet. It just was something my parents always had. We always had cable. And then I moved out on my own. And there was one year where I was like, I don't want to pay for this. It's fine. I don't need it. Kind of lived out in the country. It was really expensive. Didn't have a lot of providers to choose from. And I tried living without it. At the time, I was in grad school for my master's of science, and it was rough. It was really hard to do these classes similar to this, where I'd have to videotape myself and I'd have to go online and do projects. And so I ended up getting the internet, and I've always had it ever since. It's something that I use daily. It's how I watch TV. I don't have cable, so I use Netflix. It's how I stay in contact with family and friends. It's how I do my schoolwork, my personal schoolwork, like these classes, but also my professional schoolwork and stuff that I need to do for my school building. I use it as my cookbook. I use it as a reading device. I use it as everything, and I think that where I am in the economy, I'm definitely not well off, but it's a part of me. It's a part of my life. It's part of my everyday usage. What technology training do you still need to effectively integrate technology in your current position? I need a little more training to feel comfortable. As I said, I've used technology, but I'm definitely not a pro. I would like some training on how to be mobile and use technology, how to go classroom to classroom, what to do when things don't work. I'd love to find out if there's some fun programs that would benefit students from a counseling, social, emotional standpoint. And then I'd really like some training on Google Classroom. Luckily, I have a coworker who uses Google Classroom quite a bit. So I think her and I are going to get together this summer, and she's going to kind of give me a rundown of it, and hopefully that's something that I can implement with my students. Is your school or district equipped with 21st technology? My answer is yes-ish. All of our classrooms have Promethean boards. Our students are a 1-to-1 ratio. 3 through 5th grade all have Chromebooks, and kindergarten through 2nd have iPads. Now, I said yes-ish because it seems like we have quite a bit of technology, but I don't feel like we have the training for that. Teachers don't always know how to use their Promethean. I will go into a classroom and they haven't turned it on all day. Teachers don't know how to troubleshoot when their Promethean board's not working properly. Also, some of our stuff's pretty old, and so it doesn't work very well, and it's not consistent that teachers are able to utilize it. I'm specifically thinking in my head right now of one classroom that every time I go in, her Promethean board doesn't work. Something's wrong with it, and she's constantly putting in a work order to try and get that fixed. Advantages of innovative practices in schools. We're going to prepare our students for their future and for society's future. As I've said many times, technology is here and it's here to stay. We need to prepare our students to use technology in the real world. Increased test scores, increased student participation. We can also be cutting edge and on top. My district, I wouldn't say is cutting edge and on top, but they're definitely above other districts that I've worked in, districts that don't have the money or the resources for Prometheans and Chromebooks and iPads. So I think that the more practices we can get in school, the more cutting edge and on top we can be. Disadvantages of innovative practices. As the counselor, the very first thing I thought of was those social emotional skills. Sometimes with technology, people forget how to talk to one another. They forget how to interact. They forget how to be around other human beings. There is an increased bullying, cyberbullying. That's always a possibility. Used to be that a kid made fun of you at recess, and when you went home, as long as you didn't live by each other, you never really kind of had to deal with that person. Now, Kids are emailing each other all night long. I have kids in my office that are saying, you know, I've asked little Johnny to stop emailing me, and they email me every night, all night long. I'm getting pictures I shouldn't, words I shouldn't. The internet is at their fingertips. Not everyone goes home to the same materials. As I've mentioned from previous slides, the articles of this assignment, that can be definitely a disadvantage. It can cause a divide or a conflict. I know students, I've had to kind of help them work through that conflict where they're feeling left out or they're feeling like they're not as important or worthy as other students who can afford technology and afford more things, leisurely things. Disadvantage, I also put teacher training and support. Bottom line is teachers need training and support, but they don't always get it. And so we have great ideas and these great, wonderful, innovative ideas, but if we don't train and support our teachers, it's just not going to pan out well. Have you experienced problems with cyberbullying or other inappropriate internet use? As I just said in my previous slide, yes, absolutely yes. I have seen it even more so now in a building with one-to-one. Every student has access, but even in previous buildings where not every student had access, there was still cyberbullying or inappropriate use that went on. I think in the past it was more inappropriate use, whereas now there's definitely cyberbullying going on. I do a lesson every year on cyberbullying. Our librarian hits it as well. So the kids are learning about it, but it doesn't always stop it. Students using the iPads inappropriately, I believe it was either second or third grade has been the youngest that I've had looking up inappropriate pictures and inappropriate videos, and doing it during school hours when they're supposed to be working. I also have had students that use, now that they have Chromebooks, they use their Gmail, they use Google Docs and Google Slides inappropriately. They send each other pictures. I had a student who decided Google Docs was the best way to come out to her friends that she is a lesbian, and her friends, they didn't understand, first of all, what that meant, some of them, and some of them didn't understand what they were supposed to do with that info. And some of them reacted in a very negative way. So I love that our kids have Chromebooks. I love that they have Gmail. I love that they're using Google Docs and Slides. But we've got to help them have the best practices on how to use this stuff. Make sure that they're not bullying one another. Make sure that they're using it appropriately and not inappropriately. The good thing, especially like with Google Docs and Google Slides, you can go through and see who edited it, who it was sent from, what time it was sent from, stuff like that. And so students don't always know that, and they're learning that the hard way sometimes. But I definitely have a lot of cyberbullying. I'd say it's just as prevalent as face-to-face bullying. Thank you for watching my presentation.